Good morning. This is the time and place for the zoning cases hearing for January 9th, 2019. My name is Bradley Collin, and I will be conducting the hearing as the hearing officer. We have two cases scheduled for today, and the relevant exhibits are posted on the panels located directly behind me. The first case on the agenda is 1304-1310 South Brand Boulevard, 110 and 116 East Cypress Street. It's a request for a parking reduction permit. Is there anybody in the audience here for that? That case is going to be continued to a date uncertain, and staff will be re-noticing the case or the project to all the surrounding neighbors and occupants when the case is ready. The next case we have on the agenda is a conditional use permit. I'll get to the details on that in a second. If you wish to speak, please write your name and address on one of the speaker forms, similar to this, which has been provided at the front door, and give it to our planning staff. I would like to also inform everyone that the official proceedings of the planning hearing officer's hearing are recorded as part of the public record. Notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to property owners and tenants located within 500 feet of the subject property, physically posted on the site in question, and placed in the local newspaper. The hearing will proceed as follows. I'll read the description of the application. The case planner will then make a brief overview of the case, give an analysis, and make a recommendation. The applicant will then be asked to come forward stating both name and address, and will be asked to present the case within, if needed, a 15-minute time period. Others in support of or in opposition to the application and interested parties will be asked to then come forward, again, speaking name and address clearly for the public record, and they'll be given a 3-minute time limit. Lastly, if the applicant desires, they'll be given the opportunity for any closing comments or rebuttal, and we'll establish a 5-minute or so time limit for that. The hearing will either be closed and the case taken under submission, or the decision may be made today. The case we have before us today is a conditional use permit. Case number PCUP 1824482, located at 1300 South Brand Boulevard. It's an application for a conditional use permit requesting to allow the on-site sales, service, and consumption of a full line of alcoholic beverages at an existing tavern known as Eastside Showroom. It's located in the commercial auto zone, and for conditional use permits, a conditional use permit can only be considered if 4 of the required findings are present. If the evidence presented in the application and at the hearing meets required findings, the hearing officer can either approve or impose conditions for approval on the case in question. If the findings, in fact, are not evident, then the request will be denied. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Duarte to give us a presentation, please.
Thank you, Hearing Officer Collins. The property is located on the southeast corner of Brand Boulevard and Cypress Street intersection. Currently, there's an existing 6,000 square foot 2-story brick building that sits on the west and north property lines, and there's a 535 square foot storage area in the rear. The building currently has 2 tenant spaces on the first floor. One is the Eastside Showroom, and the other, I believe, is vacant at this time. Residential units are located upstairs, and there is no on-site parking for this property. The the Eastside Showroom is approximately 1,900 square feet in size and includes a 255 square foot bar, 56 seats, 1 pool table, and a 29 square foot stage. The business has a permit for live entertainment and hosts regular music nights featuring DJs and small local bands. Beer has been sold, at this location since 1962 for over 50 years. As a beer tavern. A conditional use permit was not required for the sale of beer at this time. In 2013, the establishment was issued a conditional use permit to add wine to the menu. The CUP was granted for 5 years. Therefore, the applicant is requesting to renew this entitlement and upgrade the licensing privileges to a full line of alcohol. The existing and proposed hours of operation are Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m., Friday through Sunday, 1 p.m. to 2 a.m. The surrounding uses, as noted, the zone is commercial auto zone, and the surrounding uses are car dealers and one car dealer service. We received comments and suggested conditions from the Glendale Police Department, which were attached to the staff report. Other city departments and sections did not submit comments or recommend conditions for the project, and staff did not receive any additional comments from the public. Staff believes that the findings for the CUP can be made and recommends that the request be granted. That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, you did say that there was no comments received either by mail or phone or email from any of the surrounding neighbors?
Correct.
Or adjacent neighbors upstairs?
Correct.
Okay.
No additional comments were received.
Nothing received. Okay. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. I have 2 speaker cards. Can Daphne Golson please come up first?
Thank you.
Again, state your name and address for the record.
So my name is Daphne Goxon, and I'm from FE Design and Consulting. Our address is 327 East 2nd Street, Los Angeles, 90012. So I'm the representative for Eastside Showroom at 1300 South Brand, and I have 2 of the owners here today, Lionel Ledesma and Mitchell Frank. So the application, as was mentioned, is a conditional use for the on-site sale, service, and consumption of a full line of alcoholic beverages at an existing tavern. As was mentioned, it has been there for many years, but was a beer tavern for a long time. Lionel took over as the manager, took over the bar back in 2012. He was already the manager when he purchased the bar, and at the time he took over, it had the Type 40 ABC license that dated back to 1976. It had been the same license continuously for all that time. He wanted to make some changes and some improvements to the bar, and so one thing that he did was apply for a conditional use permit to add wine in order to attract a more diverse clientele and help improve the bar and bring it into a new era. So that was approved in 2013, and he's been selling beer and wine for the past 5 years. As was mentioned, that CUP had a 5-year life, so since we had to come in and apply for a new one, we decided to also request an upgrade to apply for a full line of alcoholic beverages. But the application hasn't yet been made to ABC, so it's just something to do for the future. So last year, Lionel brought in Mitchell Frank also into the business. Mitchell is the owner of a number of bars, restaurants, and music venues around Los Angeles. He's best known as the owner of the Echo and the Echoplex in the Echo Park neighborhood, as well as the Regent Theater in downtown Los Angeles, which are known as live music venues and really popular small live music venues in LA. So they renamed the business at that time Eastside Showroom. It was previously called 1300 Bar, and before that was called Tony's. So with that name change, they started to bring in more musical performances and have more of a focus on the live music. As was mentioned, it's a very small space. It's a very small stage, so these aren't large performances. It's a chance for really small artists to have an opportunity to perform. Because they were bringing in more of a live music program, they spent a lot of money making upgrades to the building. Mitchell can talk more about that, but some of the measures that they took, they installed insulation in the ceiling to ensure that their noise wasn't carrying through to the upstairs tenants. So it is residential upstairs. They installed fireproof curtains in the doorway to mitigate noise between the venue and the street. They also started having a door person available in the evenings in order to help control patrons entering and exiting the venue. They also use a decibel meter now to make sure that there aren't noise issues, and they make sure they cut off music by 10 p.m. So that as well, out of respect to the residential neighbors. So although the business has put more of a focus on live music, they've made a lot of changes in order to make sure that they're still good neighbors and still in compliance with the surrounding community. In addition to the small stage area, they also have a pool table and a large bar, as you can see on your plans. So there's a lot of different experiences for people. Even though it's a small space, you have a lot of different options for what you can do inside the bar. They don't have a kitchen, but they do have small snacks available for customers as well. And ultimately, the changes that we've requested are really just part of an overall effort to continue to revitalize the bar in order to allow it to continue to serve the community for many decades to come. So that's the presentation. If you have any questions.
I do have some questions. You mentioned something about the hours. Is that the hours for the entertainment?
Yes.
And was that a certain time? Was it 10 p.m. you said?
10 p.m.,
Is that
yes.
Monday through Sunday that it would be ending?
Yes. The live music, yes. The live music ends
Right.
at 10.
And is the live music happen every night? Is it only certain nights, or just depends?
I think it depends. Right? But so they'd like to have the ability to have it every single night.
Okay. And is there any proposal for any dancing?
I don't think so. No.
Currently not at the time.
And do we, or are we planning on having any kind of cover charge for are people going to be coming just to see the music or to have the great beverages?
Sometimes both.
Did you want to have cover charge? Yes? Okay, so the occasional cover charge for certain musical acts, yeah.
So there may be a cover charge?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
The next speaker card I have is for Mitchell Frank. Again, please state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. My name is Mitchell Frank. My home address is 1520 Bird Oaks Drive, Glendale 91205.
Okay.
Hi. Lion and I partnered about a year ago on this project. At the time, the bar needed some decor and some small upgrades. So we've kind of gone through that. The upgrades we've done have a lot of which have been done like acoustic treatments, just to mitigate any sound from leaking upstairs as well as exterior. And so since kind of partnering up, what we've done is kind of we've created more of a craft beer and just kind of a local hangout place, which is the idea that I'm in the neighborhood. I live less than a mile away. Guys like myself can go to a local bar establishment with some decent beer and wine options, as well as have the opportunity to listen to music. So far, the experience has been great. On my experience as an operator, I currently own and operate, have 5 different liquor licenses throughout LA. I've never had a blemish. I've never had any sort of issue with the ABC. We work closely with police department. We are great neighbors. We try to be great tenants as well. And our main thrust is that having a good vibe and good attitude will breed more business. So that's kind of like our motto. It's just good customer service.
How long ago has it been since you've done the upgrades for the sound as
We
the noise
started, I believe, as soon as, we just started. It took a lot of insulation. There was about 2 or 3 feet in between. And I would say it probably took us like 2 or 3 months to install the insulation.
And when was that done?
About like 9, 10 months ago.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, we started about 9 or 10 months. Took us a couple months to get it all up there.
And since that time, have you heard anything from any of the neighbors upstairs?
Not only you can't hear anything outside, you don't even know that anything's going on inside. And then upstairs, what we did is we now have a dB meter. So if it goes over, about 95 dB, that's when we.
Excuse me, you need to talk in the microphone.
Oh, okay.
So how many months ago? 10 months ago, 9 months ago is when we did the work, and then we have a dB meter that we keep track of the decibels inside the place, and ever since we did that, we've mitigated any and all issues.
And you've had live entertainment within the 9 to 10 months that it's been there?
Yes.
And no questions or complaints received from
The
the
only
neighbors
time is when it
upstairs?
went over a certain decibel, and then we just brought it down. We're in close contact with the upstairs neighbor.
Okay.
And that was before we did the mitigation.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak? Miss, did you want to, behind you? Did you want to speak at all? No? Okay.
She's our general manager.
Oh, okay. While we're waiting, quick question for staff. Was the thought or proposal for a cover charge ever discussed with this? Thank you.
No, no, it wasn't.
And if there's no dance floor, then it won't become a nightclub. Because you would need a dance floor of over 200 square feet. I'm speaking rhetorically right now, in order for the use to change to a nightclub.
From a tavern.
And we have no dance floor. Okay, the next speaker card I have, I can't read your writing, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Lionel Ledesma. Current address is 812 Solano Canyon, Los Angeles, California. One of the partners of the East Side showroom, and just want to add a little bit to the soundproofing and stuff. And also mentioned that we have in the room our landlords, who have been very supportive about the project, considering that we've been attentive to the noise complaints that we originally had prior to adding the installation, making sure we comply with all the conditions and making sure our landlords happy. It's happy.
And do you happen to know where your patrons typically park?
Usually there's been a lot of the Uber, a lot of like Uber, Lyft, and a lot of that.
In the evening, the car dealerships are closed, so that,
You'd have to come back
Yeah.
up to speak if you want to speak. I can't have the.
if people do drive, then in the evening, the car dealerships are closed, so it's convenient that they're on a corridor where all the other businesses work.
Is an
operate on
agreement made with
opposite-
them, or you just kind of?
No, on the street, the street parking is available.
Oh, okay.
then. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Along Brand.
All right.
Yeah, usually a dealer business usually slows down after 4 p.m. That's what we decide also on the operating hours, because there's also plenty of street parking.
Okay. All right. Thank you very
No
much.
problem. Thank you.
Daphne, did you want to make any other comments or clarifications or anything like that? No? Okay. I don't know where they went. Okay. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and, well, let me do this. Daphne, if I can ask you to come up one last time. I believe you've read through staff's suggested conditions of approval
Yes.
and also the conditions of approval as specified by the police department.
Yes.
And are you in concurrence with both of those?
Yep. We have no issues with any of them.
With any of those? Okay. And then if the hours of operation, I'm sorry, not the hours of operation, the 10 p.m. ceasing of live entertainment made as a condition of approval, is that something that you could work with as well?
You already do that, right? Yeah, so it's already there's policy, so it would be fine.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Based on the findings recommended by staff, the information presented at the hearing this morning, and the other applicable input received from the departments, I am going to approve the conditional use permit 1824482, subject to the conditions listed within the staff report, as well as those listed in the police department comments. And also, we're going to add a condition that the live entertainment will cease at 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday. So, after the hearing, the decision will be prepared in writing, will be in the form of a letter sent to the applicant, all persons who responded to the public notice, either by speaking at this hearing or by submitting written responses and have provided their name and mailing address. The date of the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. As it relates to appeals, under the appeals provisions, Title 30, the Glendale Municipal Code decision may be appealed to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of his decision. Anyone wishing to appeal may obtain forms and brochures on the procedures from the Building and Safety Section Permit Service Center located on this same floor. The hearing is now closed. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. It is 10:02 on January 9th, 2019. Thank you all very much.